Mr. Baraka, in the age of President Barack Obama, should we still be discussing or talking about racism and race?
Well, I'm afraid so because it's very evident that the racism, overt racism, has sharpened after his elections, and even attacks on him have sharpened. Not to mention on black people. And I mean, it's only today is what the 150th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. So that just shows you we've only been free, in quotes, 150 years, and that's not much time at all. See, that's barely 2 lifetimes. So these people are still holding on to the kind of deep racism that was developed by slavery, and they haven't got rid of it. They still. I mean, even you show a picture like Lincoln, which was good because of the acting. What's his name? Is Daniel Day-Lewis is a great actor. But how they removed the black people who had, very much influence. Fred Douglass, for instance. I don't think you can tell the story of that 19th century, clash between the Union and the Confederacy without showing, Fred Douglass' deep influence on that whole dialogue. So, no, we haven't gotten rid of, and we haven't gotten rid of racism, and the whole idea of post-racial is absurd. I mean, Trayvon Martin should have proved that a minute later, and things like that have been happening all over the country. So it's not unique.
Well, that was another issue that I wanted to touch on as well. A colleague of mine, Gary Anthony Ramsey, another reporter, he did a story last summer for Press TV explaining or reporting on the increase in the number of black men who have been killed by law enforcement or wannabe law enforcement under a black president.
Yeah.
What do you think is behind the pathology? What is the pathology that is causing so many people within the black community and outside of the black community to feel that it's okay to kill black people, specifically black men?
Well, see, on one hand, it is a pathology. That's the correct term. In terms of the whites, there's a deep resentment. The idea that that Afro-American can become the president of the United States is an absurd and certainly an affront to these people. And you can even look at somebody, when I look at the AOL homepage, you turn it on, every aspect of this society that they can coin in slightly hidden racist terminology, they do that. Or you had on the front page of the Daily Mirror a picture of Obama as an ape being shot by the police. Now, the publisher, that's supposed to go to jail. I mean, in any situation you show the President of the United States, the chief executive, you can't do that. But you can do it to him, and it's going on. I mean, the incidents are so many now, you can't really, but it is a deep pathology of white people who refuse the idea of equality, equal rights, the term of self-determination. There's a dude running around now, some's putting down Kwanzaa, like he got something to do with that. You know what I mean? Nobody put down Thanksgiving with its, questionable origins, you know what I mean? Or for that matter, what is it? The Jewish holiday talks about how they, the Passover.
Passover, yes.
So they passed over these nations that they slaughtered, but I mean that didn't stop them from still, celebrating. And no matter what they might say personally about Karinga, that has nothing to do with the holiday per se, because the holiday is about 7 principles, and you celebrate them if you want to. But I'm saying that the racism is so deep that 145 years is not enough, 150 years now, to get rid of it. It shows a lot of strength and self-determination for black people to have achieved that, because there's no such thing as Obama without Malcolm, without King, without Fannie Lou Hamer, without Rosa Parks. There's no, even all of that is the result of that, but it's definitely not post-racial. It's just another aspect, another level of the struggle that we have to pursue.
Now, you mentioned just now, Malcolm, you said there'd be no President Obama without Malcolm, King, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I'm noticing among a lot of black activists, there seems to be a love-hate relationship that black activists have with the president.
Yeah, sure.
1 minute, they're attacking the right or attacking conservatives for attacking him. But then the next minute, they're attacking President Obama for what they feel is expanding Western imperialism, neocolonialism. How do you respond to that?
Well, see, I understand that. What I think, and I have, struggles with people in the Black Left, coalition, is that you have to keep your eye on first what the main enemy is. Barack Obama is not imperialism. He's been elected, which is actually a stroke by the society, because it's taken our minds off them to a certain extent. Is that black people have actually been cooled out since Obama's election, and you can understand that. If you understand the black national question, you know that as an oppressed nation, that has deep, emotional kind of effect on us as a people. You know what I mean? And there's no way we're going to be screaming and hollering about imperialism like we were before him. You understand? That should be obvious to you. But at the same time, you have to keep him absolutely in check in terms of what he should be doing that he can do. Anybody who thinks that Obama could change, monopoly capitalism in 4 years is not with us, is not in the argument. You understand? The banks run this country. The corporations run this country, and they run the world. Now, you see, the thing he just did where he got them to raise the taxes on the rich people in exchange for, 2 years of unemployment, that might seem like petty, but it's not petty if you look at what the, opposite of it, or what what it would have been. You see, they've been doing it. Like in Newark, Prudential hadn't paid no taxes since 1970. You know what I mean? They're making billions down there with the Rolling Stones and all that stuff. The question is to make corporate America pay its fair share for the development of this country, and rich people to give up the taxes that they need to pay based on that. And that's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. I mean, it's been the health, Obamacare, they want to call it, the raising of taxes on the rich. Those have been enormous struggles that he spent all his energy. And I can see where he can be criticized for things you want to criticize him for that he actually has the power to change. You see what I mean? But I think we have to keep always our eye on what the main enemy is. You understand what they are doing and how he's circumscribed and limited by what he can do. And we need to criticize that and criticize him too. But we don't need to ever take our main fury out on Obama.
Now, Mr. Baraka, do you at all feel then, is that what Tavis Smiley and Dr. Cornel West have done in your judgment? Because, most black folk, it seems that within black America, Cornel West and Tavis Smiley's name are mud based on their criticism of President Obama.
Sure, well, I can understand that. Like I said, they don't understand the national question. You cannot, after all the years of struggle, and we could name the great people who have been murdered, you see, like, for what? Being terrorists? No, for trying to vote. You understand what I mean? When Stokely and them went down south, and them people, Sherman, Goodman and Cheney,
yes,
they were killed for trying to get people to vote. And all those people down there lynched, murdered, Medgar Evers, all the people was to trying to vote. See, so if you're now going to dismiss the results of our voting. See, you can't be with that. You can't be with that. You have to be able to see a balanced view of that. Okay, he's not doing what you want him to do. Why did you go into Libya? That was stupid. Why did you get hooked up with the two arch colonialists, Great Britain and France, and go into that was stupid. Libya, that was stupid. And you see the results of that. Now you got the ambassador killed over there, messing with that anarchy that's resulting there. Why would you support this trying to cripple Syria, which Israel is pushing, so that they can try to bomb Iran? Why would you can't support the attack on Iran, the only stable country in the Middle East, you see, so that Israel can become the unopposed dictator, white dictator of the Middle East. No, you can't do that. And you have to say that. You have to continue that criticism. But you can't mistake him for, say, Israel or Great Britain or France. You have to keep your eye on these corporations. You have to keep your eye on these corporations, what they're doing. They are the enemy. See, they're the enemy. The Republican Party, they're the same as the Confederacy. They're no different from them. That's the Confederacy. You know what I mean? The Tea Party people, they're not no different from the Klan, except they took off them suits and tried to join the Congress. They're no different. Right after the Civil War, the same thing happened. We thought we was free. What did they do? The black codes, and here come the Klan, all of that kind of stuff. That's after slavery was over. It didn't happen under slavery. Slavery took care of that. But after slavery was over, then you get the Klan, you get the black codes, and it's the same thing now. You get a black president. He manages to do some very, very modest things. You understand? And then everybody hysterical. These so-called activists talking about, how come he don't do this? How come he don't do what? Overthrow capitalism in the United States? That's going to be harder than you think, brother. That's going to be harder. And you forgot the idea that revolution ultimately is going to have to happen here.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Baraka. I'm sorry. Well, Mr. Baraka, I wanted to know then, all right, concerning activists again, a few weeks ago you had several prominent black leaders who had assembled in Washington. Reverend Al Sharpton, Mark Morial, Ben Jealous. They met in D.C. to discuss a black agenda. How do you respond to that? They said they were going to bring a black agenda to President Obama.
Well, you have to hold them at their word, but their word probably is not going to be what you would like it to be. See, that's the problem. I don't think they're going to really bring first the word of the people, But I think people mistake. The Afro-American people don't condemn Barack Obama. They wish some of the things that he did were more for black people, that black people could live better under his, regime. But they don't expect America to change overnight, you see. So the question for us is always to have a balanced view of it, to urge the president to do what he can, where he can, and urge him to stay away from these backward kind of collaborations with NATO, which is just a European killing machine, a European conquest machine, to at least give us a better play in Africa. They're going to send troops all over Africa. For what? Better that we give some of that aid to Africa that we're giving to Israel. I wish we could give $30 billion a year, whatever, to Africa to get it straight, you understand? Instead of allowing Britain and France to do what they were doing before, because that's what they're trying to do. They're going right back in there, doing the same thing, still criticizing Zimbabwe for taking their land back. Here's somebody going to criticize them for taking their land back. You understand? I mean, it's still a one-sided, very cowardly kind of criticism. And I just wish the left would have a more balanced view of what's possible for the president. What can he do? What do we want him to do? We should say that what we want him to do. But just to blame him for imperialism generally is just not sane. It's just not sane. You have to draw, a kind of difference between the banks, say, corporations and Obama.
So, Mr. Baraka, would you agree then with Dr. Cornel West when he says that President Obama is the black mascot for Wall Street?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, and I don't think you know, when say Cornell says something like that, it might make him feel good. You understand? But all he's doing is hostilizing himself to black people. You understand? Because that doesn't do nothing but make black people mad. See, you know, now explain that, but to put that in the mascot terms is just, you know, it's insulting. You understand? Insulting. All presidents have been mascots for imperialism. Name one that ain't. You know, you can say Lincoln did this, or Roosevelt did this. You understand? But in terms of who runs this country, hey, it's the same. You know. So I mean, I would take offense at what Cornel West said, and I told him I don't agree with him on that. And Tavis Smiley, I just don't pay attention to because he was with Hillary Clinton before the thing. You know, I mean, he was openly for Hillary. So I mean, you know, what am I gonna do? So I mean, he probably want Hillary to be in there this time too. So I don't have much to say about Tavis. Cornell, I have more respect for. He's my friend, but still, I don't agree with his attack on Obama. And you can see what the people did. They beat the Republicans. One thing you got to say about Obama, he taught us how to kick a Republican's ass good, twice. You see, for all of that, where they were coming on, where's that? Where they were coming on like they was going to win. See, this is a bad thing here.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Huh?
Oh, that's fine, brother.
What's wrong with you? Huh? What's wrong with you?